you feel worst about right now. At this exact moment in time, let's do that.
Alright.
Dive and drive. Yep.
Dive and start the turn.
Yep, do it right there. And if you touch down a little firm, all good, so we just got a little high that time.
Yeah, we're just gonna hold that nose there.
I'm Josh, a pilot and flight instructor who loves the sky, sharing it with those around me and using it to see the world from a new perspective. Flying can seem super complex, but I make it my mission to promote safe practices while enjoying the beauty this world has to offer. Subscribe to Climb Into the Cockpit on future adventures. This is Aviation 101.
0991 New Orleans, clear to the Foley Airport via S-bound on departure, maintain 2,000 feet.
In the previous episode, Parker reintroduced me to the art of float flying by running me through some of the basic drills to safely operate a seaplane. Then after my first lesson with him, Parker took Chelsea on her first seaplane flight, and she got to have the same awe-inspiring experience that I had at Alaska Floats and Skis 2 years before. The full-length edits of those flights can be accessed on Cockpit Club at aviation101.com if you're interested to hear all the technical training talk during those lessons. In this episode, Parker and I are hitting Lesson 2 on our syllabus for the Commercial Seaplane add-on, and that will put us halfway to the check ride. Being at Alaska Floats and Skis is an all-encompassing experience in and of itself, so being here means we'll be doing a lot more than just flying seaplanes all day. Welcome to Part 3.
Just because when you're making that turn, the wind can get under that wing.
There are 4 of us going for the seaplane rating this weekend. Kevin and Daniel are both Alaska locals, and Dave and I are both CFIs from the lower 48. Alaska Floats and Skis has some amazing CFIs on staff, and Parker is the one that was assigned to me. Parker and I have a similar instructional style in that we both like to have a thorough briefing before a lesson, so we both know what the goals and expectations are, and that gives me an opportunity to ask questions about stuff I'm not clear on before we actually get in the plane. Lesson number 1 was really focused on getting the general operating flow down. In other words, we did a fair amount of pattern work on a giant lake with plenty of room. In the briefing and on that lesson, we started to address things like glassy water operations. They produce a few added challenges. On takeoff, water without ripples produces a bit more drag and almost sticks the floats to the water. Landing on glassy water is challenging because without texture, it's like you're landing on a mirror. So there are some techniques to land without relying on your depth perception in those scenarios. Another skill set we're going to start refining in this lesson is confined area operations, basically taking off and landing in tight places, and how to mitigate risks and use up the little space we do have to our advantage. The last item we'll be introduced to in Lesson 2 is the Power Off 180, basically bringing the throttle back to idle on downwind and making a 180-degree turn to safely touch down on the water with no power. After that, we'll have been introduced to all the check ride tasks, and from there, it's just reps, putting in the repetitions to refine the technique and get the muscle memory down on these things. This video does have to be whittled down to a digestible length for YouTube, and some of the drills that we're running and the progress that I'm making is going to be summarized. But if you do want to watch the full-length training video of this flight, meaning every drill and every scenario is kept in the video, it's a little over an hour long, you can access that at aviation101.com/cockpitclub. I can already tell you that the hardest part of all of this for me is going to be the docking. You have to kill the engine and coast into the dock in a very calculated and controlled way, and it takes good judgment of energy management. And I can tell you right now, I'm going to botch the crap out of this many times before I get it halfway right.
Clear prop.
Clear.
Thank you.
We'll cut it left as soon as you clear the dock here.
Skyline 182 July, I'll be departing on my 19 right now with departure.
And now we're just kind of going to circle in this area and wait for Dave to go, and then we'll follow them out. Okay, cool. Cool, man. I'll tell Keaton. And we get the weather.
Clear low 2000. Temperature 21, 2.4, altimeter 2
information. What was it?
David runway 19er, right traffic. All weather reports requested. Contact Talkeetna Radio 123.6 for traffic advisories. Advise on initial contact UF Kilo.
Talkeetna Radio Pacer 1562 Alpha Christensen Lake with Kilo company traffic and south departure.
562 Alpha Talkeetna Radio, roger. Additional traffic is a Cessna independent runway 19er touch and goes. A Skyline departed southbound about 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, this is how you hold short in a seaplane. You just do these little circles. Cool.
It has turned out to be such a freaking nice day.
Oh yeah, you guys seriously timed it perfectly.
Cool, cool. So just a normal takeoff.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, we'll do before takeoff anytime, kind of preemptively. We're thinking about it, so go for it.
Hey, mixture and carpete are in and the area is clear. We got a pacer circling back there, and we're going to keep an eye on this boat. Looks like they're sitting on the dock, so we should be good. And we'll get the water rudders up here in just a second.
Perfect. Yeah, we have the wind at our backs right now. Like you can see that ripple moving north to south right now.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of question mark it right and bring it back left. And when it starts coming left, the wind's going to start grabbing the air rudder, and it'll start weather vaning, so we can pull the water rudders kind of early, and it'll do that kind of e-brake thing I was talking about. You know, you'll like tighten your turn up.
Yeah.
Anytime you like.
All right.
Christensen link copy. Pacer 1562 Alpha's taking off north-south departure. Christensen.
About halfway through the turn here.
Yep. Perfect. Go for it.
All right.
Now we're going to tighten our turn up. And steering right down the pipe, and then full power.
That boat looks good. Takeoff power set. There's a second rise.
Yep. And right there is perfect. And just a little back pressure. A little bit more, right about there. That's where it's happy. And then just hold that, and there you go.
Final number 19, Tahiti.
Then same thing, we'll just kind of hug this west shoreline now. That way if we lose our engine, then we can glide to the right toward that east channel.
Okay.
So we'll kind of go this way, we'll still avoid that guy's house and stay over the water and climb toward that low-rising terrain right there. And then we'll just make right traffic southbound. Cool. Go up to like 1,000 feet or so.
Tahiti radio water.
This first hill sticking up right here, we'll go like around that hill and back.
Gotcha.
Yep.
This is where it's at, man. Flying the terrain, I love it.
Oh, I was just thinking the same thing. It's so fun. I was literally just gonna say that. It's so cool. I was just looking across like the trees just ripping by. Like,
It doesn't get much better than this.
no, it really doesn't. One of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
And it's funny too with like all the landmarks out here, like, you know, you're in Texas or like Seattle or wherever you go, anywhere, you're like, oh yeah, you've got the Space Needle or like, you know, or you've got, you know, some big landmark, and then out here it's like, yeah, you see that tree over there?
Yeah.
Or like, see that telephone pole? Like that's where we're going. That's pretty much it.
That's it.
That set of power lines or that bank in the river, that hill, that's it. Got the Talkeetna Mountains to the east and all the way to the north. The Matsu Valley is pointed south for the flatlands, so that's kind of, yeah, you kind of fly this box, you know, that's how you stay oriented.
Is that a moose?
That does look like a moose.
I think that's a moose.
Yeah, so let's overfly this. We'll taxi, we'll try and land, and then we can come down and get a good shot of it too, potentially. Cool. Yep, that is a moose.
That is definitely a moose. That's awesome.
Pretty hard to miss them, you know? They're so big.
Yeah. I could like see ripples coming out from whatever that was.
Yep.
Don't think it's a log.
Alright, so wind, obstacles, all that stuff. Woods.
Alright. Let's kind of get an idea here. Looks like it's a little bit out of the north. And I see pretty continuous texture. I don't necessarily, there's some good reflections there.
Yeah.
We're gonna encounter that end of the lake on this landing. We should have already gone around.
Yep.
I'll go ahead and call our abort point, this choke off right here in the middle of the lake.
Alright, and directly underneath you is this kind of island too. Island, not island, like right underneath you. Right there, see this?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a good spot, like that choke out, like you said.
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
Perfect. And then the only other obstacle I notice inside the lake is a bunch of lily pads. Do we really worry about those?
Nah, that's fine.
Right over them, okay.
Yep.
Space looks good, so I would call the woods checklist complete.
And make sure you have an LVR for a Glassy landing too.
And our LVR will be right as the channel ends, so I think we can use that channel as kind of our guide to final.
For the water?
Yeah.
Through the trees or through that clearing over there? Which one are you using? Because there's two.
Oh, I didn't even see that one.
Yep, either one.
Let's use the water.
Alright, it's cool. Yeah, we lost our engine, we got water beneath us, so I like it.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool.
Start to turn. We're doing a glassy water landing, rudders are up. Let's start to kill some of that energy.
Yeah, I like this approach, it's a fun one.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. Down through the trees. We don't have much water beneath us.
It's like the universe just laid this approach out for you now.
I
It's like
know,
your
yeah.
approach light system for the runway.
That's right.
Cool. Perfect. good attitude, and then we'll just pull a little power back, and you can almost like still let it kind of sink down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then just kind of control it, you know? Very nice, looking good. And then just add some more power here if we need it. Gonna get that texture, so we'll get some performance.
Alright, we're past the LVR.
And then just hold that attitude, yep.
I'm expecting a sink here.
And then here comes our LVR, or our board points. So if we're not on the water here in 1 second, then we're out of here. And just right at it, perfect. There's that boost over there. Let's keep it up on step. Let's go at full power real quick. Full power, full power. There you go, kind of save it. We'll get up on step and then go back to 2000. Yep, perfect. Oh, we can fall off step like right here. There you go. We're gonna scare it away.
Man, look at that. Yeah, when I know I can't get a good shot, I'm just like, you know what?
Just absorb it.
This is one that I'm just gonna observe with my eyes.
Yep. At this point, we'll do a, you want to do a glassy water takeoff? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll do a glassy water takeoff, that positive rate of climb, rocking off one float, right? So, cool. We'll do that. Any time we can get that before takeoff and all that.
We'll kick the rudder over here. And it's gonna weather vane. Pull those up. And the area is clear before takeoff checklist is done. Glassy water takeoff. Yep. First rise. There's the second rise. We're up on step. Waiting on that float to get light.
Oh, that was nice.
Alright.
And then just that positive rate of climb. And once you got sight reference again, then you're good to go. Wait.
A glassy water takeoff and or landing is used obviously when the water is glassy, usually in the early morning, later evening, or any time the wind is calm and it's not disrupting the surface of the water. The technique for a glassy water takeoff is very similar to a normal takeoff, but we would hold in some aileron as the airplane accelerates, which helps lift one of the floats out of the water, thus cutting the drag way down, allowing the second float to break water and start the climb out. Since the water is so still and smooth, it takes more to break the suction between the floats and the water, so quote, rocking a float, as they say, helps break that suction and decrease drag sooner. With any landing in a seaplane, we have a very specific landing attitude. With landing gear, you have a range of attitude that you could safely touch down at, basically as long as you don't strike the tail on the ground. But with floats, it has a very specific attitude where the drag is minimized and the stability is maximized. In a seaplane, we can use a conventional landing when the wind is creating texture on the water and the water isn't perfectly reflective. So in that case, we set the landing attitude when we get close to the water and use our depth perception to sink slowly down to the water until it touches, and we control that sink rate using power. With a glassy water landing, it's way too dangerous to try and rely on your depth perception since you're basically trying to gently land on top of a mirror. We pick a quote last visual reference, or LVR, come over the LVR as low as safely possible, and by the time the LVR is passing under us, we have to already be established in the landing attitude, hold that attitude relative to the horizon while keeping some power applied to descend slowly until the floats touch the water. It's really tempting to add back pressure to flare the nose up like we do with regular landing gear, but if I felt a sink or felt the water was coming up too fast, it took absolutely everything in me to resist the urge to flare the nose up higher. The solution in a seaplane is to just add some power and do not change the attitude. We did a few glassy water reps, then once the water was chopped up a fair amount with texture, we could move on to some confined area takeoffs and landings.
And you wanted to go around for a normal landing?
Yep, yeah, we'll do one normal landing at least,
Okay.
kind of just see that really quick, and then after that we will move on to some confines and some engine failures.
Sweet.
And you will have seen the tasks of the check ride.
Awesome.
And then you're just using that water now, just kind of like, once the water feels like it's starting to sneak up, then just start kind of rounding out. They're going to get a gust right here, that's that dark patch, so it'll pick you up and drop you, so it's be able to catch it with some power, a little back pressure, a little power. There you go, perfect, nice save. That's it. Cool. Alright, so we're doing confined area takeoff, so we'll kind of come over here in this corner and see how the wind's kind of moving this way now. Like it's kind of variable, but We'll do that at 90 degrees, so I'll kind of show you. I'll demo one real quick.
Yep, you have flight controls.
So mixture ridge, carbeat, I got the controls, area's clear. And the water rudders.
They are down right now.
Yep, I will grab, I'm gonna get the flaps up. And so the wind's gonna start grabbing me. I'm gonna pull these water rudders up. It's gonna start weather vaning. You see where the ripple's coming from, and that's where the nose is gonna point. It'll slingshot kind of past that too. So my takeoff line's gonna be straight at that shoreline.
Okay.
Once I got my takeoff line, the air rudder's gonna become effective. I'm gonna go full power. I'm gonna go up on step, first rise. Second rise, up on step. Then arrest that. And I'm just gonna keep this in here, look right, clear right, turn right. Alright, come around the corner. We're almost ready to fly. And then right when we get around the corner, I can just pop the flaps. Airborne. Kind of ease them back out to 1 notch. Got 1 notch verified, looking outside, build that airspeed, and then you're climbing out. Okay, so that just saves runway. That's all you're doing.
Gotcha. You're starting to use your usable runway or water.
Yep.
With energy.
Yep.
Got
and then
it.
you clear the obstacle and you're flying out. Front of carriage, our water rudders are up, mixture's rich, our primer's locked. Get the power back here a little bit. And we're gonna come in over the trees. I got 1 notch of flaps. And again, you kind of just chop it a little bit, and just let her kind of fall. And again, it's the same thing. I already have 1 notch of flaps, so I'm just gonna clear the obstacle here. I'm gonna chop the power, drop the nose, 2nd notch flaps, and then land. Okay, pretty straightforward. And then you'll do this confined takeoff coming up. So chop the power, drop the nose, 2nd notch flaps. That's about the attitude you want to see. Okay. No power here, I'm all the way idle. And then just round out. And then landing attitude, maybe a little bit of power if you need it. And then there you go. And you know, sometimes they're going to be like that, where you get a little bounce, and sometimes they'll be really soft, and it's just, yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game, but we made it on before our board point.
Absolutely.
And you had the landing attitude there, so that's what you're looking for.
Cool, I got the flight controls.
You got
yeah, I mean, just like a short field landing, too.
It is.
They're not all going to be perfect.
Yep, it's essentially, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's not about being super, super smooth. I mean, the goal is, but the goal is just to get down, you know? And then when you're in the step turn, really paying attention to your centrifugal force that you're imposing on the airplane.
Okay.
Yeah. Reason why is, like, if you have only a left-right setting on the fuel selector, you can choke the fuel out, you know, and you can starve the engine in the takeoff. So we have a both selector, so we don't really have to worry about it, but you'd always want to have the inboard tank set if you're going to do that.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Alright, flap set, 1 notch. And we're good on the run-up safety checks before takeoff. Mixture carb heat area is clear. We'll get a look at it as we turn around, and the water rudders are going to come up when we're ready.
Sweet.
So we're going to head toward that shore, make a 90-degree turn.
Yep.
In the step.
Yep.
Alright, we're in the turn. Let it start weather vaning. Our area looks clear. Here's the 2nd rise. Up on step.
Look left, clear left, turn left, light rudder pressure, little back pressure, perfect. So kind of arrest the porpoise and just keep coming left. And then once you're straight, straighten it out. Hand goes down to the flaps. And then pop the 2nd notch. There you go. And then kind of slowly ease it out, build airspeed, and then climb out at 1 notch, okay? That's it, confined takeoff.
Gotcha.
We'll do lots more of those too.
Yeah, that step turn is a little finicky.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. We'll get some more practice on them too. But the biggest thing that we're looking at is when you get up on step, everybody starts to want to rush the airplane and pull the power back too soon, you know, because they're like, oh no, shoreline's coming at me. But you know, you really gotta like just be on it. Yep.
Cool. So confined area landing. I'll come over the trees about the same area that you did.
Cool. Yep.
Same with board point. We already did woods. We're below 100, so let's get that 1st notch.
Perfect.
And looking for the 2nd notch over the trees once we nose down to the...
Yep, it's just that chop, drop, 2nd notch flaps, land.
Here, inbound 19er on the practice RNAV 19er copy, time to go miss.
Full power here.
Yeah, we'll need some more power in here. We're getting pretty slow here. There you go. And then chop, drop, 2nd notch flaps. Hand on the power for a go around if you need it, and then or any power you need, and then just kind of start rounding, looking at the shoreline, keep pulling, little power, little power. There you go. Money. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah, no secrets to it, you know?
Yeah.
Just chop, drop, second notch, you're on the water.
I think it's just all about getting the feel of the timing of
Oh,
everything.
totally, absolutely, yep. It's just reps. From here, it's just reps, but this is just the intro, and there's just, you know, the point being, it's just pretty straightforward. There's no secret.
Yeah.
You just gotta do it.
Confined area operations are used when you don't have an incredible amount of space to work with in terms of takeoff and landing. Our first lesson was spent at Larson Lake, which has over 12,000 feet of open water to practice with. At this lake, we have 3,800 feet to practice with. The confined area takeoff can be done with a few different techniques depending on how much space you have. We start the takeoff by getting the airplane up on the float step, like a step taxi, but we're not pointed in the correct direction for takeoff yet. This can either be done with a 90-degree turn to the takeoff run or a 180-degree turn, depending on how much space you have, the shape of the lake, etc. A seaplane will eat up a lot of space just accelerating to get on step, not to mention getting to rotation speed. With this technique, we're already up on step, and we just use a step turn to round the corner and point the airplane in the takeoff direction when it's time. Once that step turn to the takeoff run is complete, we're now pointed in the correct direction all the way down at the end of the lake, and we're already up on step. That just saved ourselves at least several hundred feet. That's the whole idea behind a step turn to takeoff. The second element of a confined area takeoff is bumping the flaps to an additional notch when we're about ready to lift off. This is a technique pretty widely used in bush flying in general, not just in seaplanes. If you think about it, flaps are also a control surface, but many trainers have electric flaps, so we learned to use flaps as a checklist item instead of really manipulating them with a mechanical control like all the other flight controls. By momentarily increasing the amount of flaps extended, you're adding some lifting capability to the wings, but with increased lift comes increased induced drag. So we want to gently retract the flaps as soon as possible after liftoff to allow the plane to accelerate as best as possible. If we retract the flaps too quickly or the airplane is going too slow, you can kill the lift before the airplane has time to accelerate, and it could cause the wings to stall, so emphasis on gently retracting the flaps. A confined landing is pretty straightforward. Instead of coming down through a low channel or clearing to the water, we're simulating a small lake with tall trees on all sides by coming over some tall obstacles, and once we're clear of those obstacles, we chop the power all the way to idle and extend flaps to 20 degrees in the Piper Pacer, while pushing the nose down to keep our speed up. We arrest our sink rate as the water is creeping up on us by increasing our pitch attitude until we've just about reached our landing attitude. Then we hold that attitude, add power to arrest the sink rate even more, and feather the floats down to the water in that attitude by adjusting the throttle from there. We also repped out these confined area procedures several times before moving on to our last task of the day, power off 180 approaches.
Alright, your controls whenever you're
Alright, I got it.
You got the flight controls.
So I have them right abeam here. I'm gonna go carpet, looking for a drop, and then I'm chopping the power.
How you guys doing back there? Am I pulling away from you?
First thing's dive and drive. And you're coming down like really quick.
Yeah, that's a significant nose down.
Notice our airspeed on the way down. Alright, fuel's on both, carpet, gas mixture's on bridge, power's in and locked, mags on both. I'm not gonna use any flaps. Start getting those wings level. And on the power for a go around, we got our 4 point selected already, same thing. Initial arrest that descent rate like so, kind of keep that water from scaring you, and then just kind of finesse it to the landing attitude, but don't let it fly again. And again, kind of firmer is conservative, right?
Right.
But that's what you're looking for. But yeah, I don't know if you checked out the airspeed, but it should have been like right at 100 pinned.
Yeah, it was about 90, 95.
Yep. Right about there, but it won't go any faster than that, even if you go further down, you know? But
Cool.
yeah, it happens quick.
Gotcha.
Anyway, water is down, you got controls again.
Alright, I have flight controls.
Any questions on that?
No, that looks pretty good.
Cool, yeah. Yeah, and it's always, you know, you can always have even smoother than that on the landing, but it's just like, you gotta really, really finesse it. And if you even start to fly like 2 or 3 feet higher, you know, you bleed off all your airspeed and you're like, you know.
You're hosed.
Yeah, now you're hosed. Yeah, you're gonna land kind of firmer. Yep.
Rudder's up.
Alright, he's gone. Cool. Yeah, he's in the down up here, I got him.
Alright, up on the step.
Yeah, kind of arrest the porpoise first and then start to turn. Perfect, just like that. And we're gonna have those wake right there, you'll see that coming. A little bouncy.
Alright, we're straightened up there.
Yep.
Get it off the water.
Alright, carb it out real quick. And then pull the power idle. All the way idle, dive and drive. First thing is airspeed, pitch for the water. And then run through your flow, it's left to right, so fuel selector both.
Alright, fuel selector's on both.
Left side by your left knee.
Yeah.
Mags are both.
And that's on both. Mixture,
Primers in, mixture's rich. Water is up. And then just kind of get those wings level.
Arrest this initial descent.
And then just keep pulling and finesse it. Keep pulling, smoothly, continuously pull. Just keep pulling, just keep pulling. That's how you do it. That is how you do it.
Gotcha.
Beautiful. And you just let it slide off the step. That was perfect. I know, I saw you fumble for the fuel selector. It's right here, yeah.
Yeah, Skyhawk.
Yeah, I know how it is. I'm a Skyhawk man myself,
yeah.
so. Let's stay on step. We'll turn this into a 180-degree takeoff if we can.
Okay.
So we'll kind of hug this shoreline. Go look right, clear right, turn right. Yep, all the way over. And then kind of aggressive with the turn to start. Just like that. And then you can kind of take some back out, and then some more aggressive with the rudders. A little power for the turn here, keep us on step. There you go. This is perfect. There you go, that's how you do it. And then just increase the full power. Get it nice and straight again, we'll kind of avoid the wake here, we'll kind of come to the right of the wake. Do that. And then hand comes down to the flaps. There you go, once you feel like you're ready, perfect. Just pop the flaps in there.
That was a little early.
It's all good. I kind of threw that at you last second.
Alright, we're back at 10 degrees.
Yep. It just was looking good, and I was like, you know what? We can turn this into a 180.
Might as well.
So anyway, now you've seen a 180 takeoff though.
Okay, cool.
But it's the same thing, confined takeoff, you know? And then
Gotcha.
1 notch flaps, climb out toward the low terrain, clear the obstacle, and you're good to go.
Sweet. Got a drop.
Alright, then I got your throttle here.
Okay.
Sweet, man. Make it a good one.
Let's do it.
Alright.
Alright.
Dive and drive. Yep.
Dive and start the turn.
Yep.
And fuel selector, carb heat, mags on both, throttle, primer, and mixture.
Perfect. Airspeed's looking good. And then the water rudders as well. Make sure those are up too.
Water rudders, yep.
Perfect. You just want to get wings level ASAP. And then kind of start arresting the initial, and then just kind of finesse it, you know? Find that, keep pulling, continuously pull. Keep pulling, that's how you do it, right there. And if you touch down a little firm, all good, so we just got a little high that time.
Yeah, we're just going to hold that nose back.
Yeah, the best thing you can do if you like start skipping a little bit like that at the very end is just ride it out.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that. The whole idea of like that initial arrest of descent, and then kind of like, all right, just keep pulling. That continuous pull is how you finesse it right on the step on the water.
Gotcha.
That's it, man.
I could definitely use more practice, but we'll
Oh man, we'll do it.
You want to do another confined, or do you want to do a glassy?
Whatever you want to do. If you want to practice with any given one, whatever you feel worst about right now, at this exact moment in time, let's do that.
I feel pretty good about the confined area.
I think all your stuff's looking good, honestly. But
okay. Let's just do a glassy. I think I'd feel good about doing a glassy.
Yeah.
The power-off 180s are a commercial maneuver that basically tests the pilot's energy management skills with the aircraft they're being tested in. I've done these plenty of times in many different types of planes, but there are a few key differences here with floats. Chopping the power in this Piper Pacer on floats is like throwing a brick out the window and following it to the ground. I've always heard that saying about older Pipers, and I've even seen it firsthand in Piper Arrows and Lances and stuff like that, but I was shocked at how aggressively you have to push the nose down and heel the wings over in this thing to make it to the lake. These floats create a lot of drag. We pitch for about 100 miles an hour, run a quick left to right flow to make sure everything is where it should be, and then we land. Just like we talked about before, landing a plane with wheels allows you to flare the nose up and kill energy until the tires touch the ground, just as long as you don't strike the tail on the ground. You can't do that with floats. Basically, as we're coming down to the water, you have to slowly arrest the sink rate by pulling the nose up, but once the nose has reached the landing attitude, you cannot pull it up anymore, or else the heels of the floats will touch first and you can cause damage and get very unstable. Those floats have a very specific attitude they have to touch the water. It cannot be too nose low, and it cannot be too nose high. You basically have to correctly judge and time your pitch attitude, altitude, and airspeed, all so that you reach your landing attitude just as the floats kiss the water, right at stall speed. After we drilled all of these maneuvers for about an hour and a half, Parker and I could definitely see improvement in my skills and understanding of all of this. And it was time to head back to base because tonight, the flight school is hosting a legit brick oven pizza night on the deck.
Then you kind of just keep the power idle and just let it come down. And we'll just start the round out before we cross over the LVR. Just keep that nose coming down, nice and easy. No problems here. Coming down, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Now you can start rounding. And then wait on the power. Landing attitude set, then add some power to catch. There it is. Here comes the sink rate, yep. Perfect. Now just hang on to that attitude, yep. Oh, beautiful. And keep it on step, 2,000 RPM. Let's keep it up to 2,000.
19, self-feed.
Yep, perfect, right here. We'll kind of put our way in.
Alaska Floats and Skis hosted a pizza night right on the deck where some local pilots and former students showed up and we all just hung out. The handmade brick oven pizza was amazing, the weather was amazing, the people were amazing. Like I've said before, Alaska Floats and Skis isn't just a place to get your seaplane rating, it's a destination. After the party dispersed and we blew past 10 p.m. with the sun still in the sky, Chelsea and I decided to go take advantage of the glassy water. Coming up on about 10 p.m. out here, and we're on Christensen Lake in Talkeetna, Alaska. Chelsea and I decided to take one of the canoes out. Very, very smooth, very, very calm out here on the lake. Very much so glassy water. We've got a campfire going over there at the flight school. And we'll go back and join everybody here in just a little bit, but we wanted to go out and just enjoy the lake and the 10 p.m. sun back there. And no mosquitoes. But this is what it's all about. Good people. We're having a fantastic time with all the flight instructors and Don, the owner. We're just having an overall great time with great people, great airplanes, in one of the greatest places on Earth. I can't quite narrow down what it is. The lively aviation spirit, the passionate souls who are here, the planes, the places, or the nearly unlimited daylight in the summer. Alaska is a wonderland, and I may even add that it has a hint of home. In the next episode, Parker and I take to some different lakes that present all new challenges, including legitimate confined areas and high-density altitude. This series would not be possible without the help of Chris Palmer from the YouTube channel and online ground school Angle of Attack. He came out to Talkeetna to support his friends and help film this whole process. Be sure to keep an eye on Cockpit Club for the full-length edits of all these flights, and give this video a like if you did, and subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss out on the next episode. Until next time, you know the drill. Stay happy, healthy, current, and proficient. We'll see you in part 4 right here at Alaska Floats and Skis. Fly safe.